Good morning. Happy Christmas. Oh, it's so nice, guys. I did manage to get a couple of hours of sleep. I've been sitting here just listening to this rain and meditating and just relaxing. It's such a nice day outside today. I hope y'all are having a happy Christmas. I wanted to come with some good news as well as some tips. And I might even throw the cards. I'm not sure if I'm feel up to doing any readings at the moment. I wanted to talk about parasites and parasitic people. Okay. Now, a lot of people get this confused with vampirism, which is not the same. It really honestly isn't. Um, vampires or vampirism is totally different from a parasite. A parasite is typically a physically ill person, or it could be a mentally ill person, but it could be both. But typically it's more common when you have a physically ill person. And basically what that person will do is they will latch on and attach and pretty much suck continuously. You know, it'll just continuously take life force, whatever they can. Okay. And so being a parasitic person versus being a vampiric person is two totally different things. Typically parasitic people, um, even when they feed, it doesn't make things better. It's almost like a void that they have. It's like a black hole of just it just takes and takes and takes and takes and takes. And I've noticed that they have certain time periods when they do this parasitic feeding. They do it. They do have a way of doing it spiritually. Okay, through meditations as well as other means, spell work. I'm sorry, y'all. My nose is just now clearing up. Good Lord. And they are very, very, very codependent. I mean, to the point where it's just like constant every day. They have to have somebody to feed off of. Very parasitic. It's very different from someone that inspires them. It's not the same. They are literally in the state of consciousness of being a parasite. Classes are available for that. You only need like maybe 2 to 3 classes to get it down pat. There's a specific incantation that you can do, and you want to use fire and maybe even water. So I am offering those classes because you know what really, really pisses me off? Running into these types of people. They are so annoying. I'm sorry. They will literally take everything from you. Everything. Like, that's why I have a tendency to call them roaches, because roaches tend to function without any thought or empathy. And that's typically the personality of these people. They will actually try to make you feel bad because you won't allow them to steal your life force. Now, they're very concerned about what you're eating. Do you fast? The answer is no. When you don't have any food on your stomach, or when you're hungry or famished, it actually makes it easier for them to feed off of you. It does. It's very difficult to, if you're like trying to lose weight or get in shape, it is very, very, very difficult to do that when you are dealing with this type of situation. It literally takes your entire life away from you. It literally destroys people, typically. And they don't care, because what they'll do is they'll just parasite off of you until you're dead. And they have no consciousness. I truly believe that the people like this don't have a soul. Okay. You know? So I do have classes available in that. A lot of people would probably say, well, I see these other people feeding off of you. No, they're not. They're not. I always stop it. It's annoying. I was blindsided. It was a whole carousal of them. They are not feeding. And I typically have to take my energy back every day. Every single day, I have to take back my life force, my strength, my blessings, my time, my energy, my money, my wealth, my good health. In fact, when somebody tells you that they're going to block your health, nobody can block you from having good health. What they're doing is they're taking from you. There is a way to survive this. Okay. A lot of you guys are being fed up on and you don't even know it. Typically, if you're in your teens or your 20s or even your 30s, you don't realize it till you hit about the age of 40. And then you start to think, wait a minute. Because technically, at the age of 40, you're not supposed to feel old. You'll have knee problems, back problems, headaches, dizziness. They will wreck your health. Typically, one of the first signs that you're being fed on is this balloonish type of feeling in your stomach area. And then also you'll feel like a constricting of the nostrils, and you won't be able to breathe normally. If you can't breathe normally, especially through the nose, it makes it very difficult to ground yourself. And that's what they want. They want you ungrounded. That's why they do the most outlandish things. Now, why is this happening in social media? I'll tell you why. The reason why it's happening in social media is because they have literally done this to everybody around them and nobody wants to be around them in real life. So that's why a lot of them take to social media. It's very different than, oh, I'm kind of bored. I kind of want to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Hey, how you doing? We have the same interests. It's very, very different. These people obviously are feeding. They do tend to feed off of chaos, but it's typically targeted chaos. It's not like they can just be, and they figured this out. They can't just be like amongst a bunch of chaos and feed that way. because if there's a bunch of people in chaos, it'll be more difficult for them to home in on a target. So the feeding, the parasiting, the parasitic behavior is typically targeted. For example, they could be having an argument with someone else, but then they choose to argue with you. A lot of people that have sick parents like that, just sick in the mind like that, this is one of the reasons there's parasitic parents out there that will literally take out all of their frustrations on their kids. That can sometimes be parasiting. Like, for example, if your mother is angry at your father, and instead of your mother being able to express that anger to your father, they'll come and mess with you so that they can focus. And then you'll notice that you probably did feel kind of drained, kind of out of it, scattered, kind of just like, yeah. So, what's my theory on this? My theory on this is infection. I feel that I feel like most of them that do this feeding have an antibiotic resistant infection somewhere in the body. And I feel that it creates a need for that because people that are parasiting off of people, they typically feel sick all the time. They don't ever feel well. Ever. And as an empath, a dark empath, because a lot of empaths are just willing to just die for people. And it's like, nah. But as a dark empath, what I've noticed is that these types of people always feel sick. They never feel good. They always feel under the weather. It's not normal to always feel under the weather and sick. Okay, an occasional cold. And if you are a person that has a strong immune system and you rarely get sick and you start being around those types of folks, and then all of a sudden you're feeling sick all the damn time, or you're feeling under the weather, or it's always something, right? Signs of being fed on, signs of being, I don't want to say fed on because they're not actually feeding. This is the whole thing about it. This is the whole oxymoron about it. They don't actually take the energy. For some reason, they cannot absorb it. They cannot absorb that energy. They cannot take it in and hold on to it. They never feel better. It never helps them. Now, what would help them possibly would be possibly some kind of cleanse, typically a spiritual cleanse. There is a such thing as astral parasites. There is a such thing as spiritual parasites. I believe that it is spiritual because why? Because people like this frequent the spiritual community. If you are a person that fears the laws of three or karma or something, uh, then it's going to be more difficult on you because they have to have some kind of incentive to not do that. They have to. If they don't have an incentive as to why they shouldn't, then they'll just keep doing it. Um, Unfortunately, you do have to make these people sick and you can't feel bad about it. Sad part about it is that they're always doing this to empaths. Um, is it the same thing as vampirism? I don't believe so. Vampiric people have superhuman strength. Okay. Parasites are weak. Parasites feed and they don't even actually get anything out of it. One of the signs of being parasited on is that, like, you will feel really, really hungry even though you've eaten. They typically will start to feed around dinner time. If they have monitoring spirits, then their spirits are monitoring your dinner time. They will try to stop you from eating, or what I've found is that these specific parasites will sort of cut it'll almost be like you can't get a good meal in. It'll be like you'll have a normal plate of food, but you can't eat it all. Like your stomach will be upset and you just can't eat because they don't want you to eat. They don't. When you eat, they can't feed. That's why they don't want you to eat. They don't want you to eat. That's why you lose your appetite. Don't ever fast and pray. No. Wrong. Okay. Because what happens when you don't eat is that the brain does not get enough nutrients and it doesn't get cholesterol. And so a lot of people say, "Oh my God, I'm fasting and I'm a breatharian and I feel elated." Obviously if you have food reserved in your stomach, you don't have to eat when you're not hungry. But the point is that when you don't eat, it makes it easier for them to feed. Vegans, if vegans are not careful enough to not get enough vegetable protein or some kind of soy protein, vegans can get fed up on the most. That's why I never was down with veganism. The problem is that a parasitic person, if they are sick with some kind of illness, your energy is going to have to feed whatever they are lacking. That's dangerous to an empath. First of all, it's very different than giving somebody a kidney. It's very different because they're just constantly feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding. And they are pretty much basically during these feeding processes, they are shutting down various areas of the body. They're shutting it down. They don't actually get what they need from you. They don't, but they'll do it anyway because they figure, well, I'm sick. You need to be sick with me. Right. Mm-hmm. Um, Parasites will do that. I call them barnacles. So I've got a class on that. That's one of the reasons why I can come on here and I don't look like I'm 99 years old, even though I've been getting fed on for a decade. Your immune system is very complicated. Bad spiritual energy, cursed people will mess with the normal functions of your body. I know that for me, when somebody even attempts to feed off of me, and I've been fed on at one point, I was being fed on um by close to 1,000 people at once. And If somebody even attempts to feed off of me energetically, I can't sleep. I'm not going to go to sleep until I stop it. Because if you go to sleep, then you're extra ultra vulnerable if you're asleep. Then what a parasite will do is, in order to keep you in that, first of all, everything that you are, everything that you have comes from your spiritual and physical body. It does. The money that you earn, everything. So a lot of people have these blessings coming down to them. So those are going to be the first to go. You'll notice that things will become very stagnant. You'll notice that they'll even try to control your energy to the point where you, because they've gotten a little bit more sophisticated, they'll even try to control your energy to the point where there's certain things, like you'll only be allowed enough energy to do certain things. Extra things like taking a poop, your body's not going to be able to do it. You're going to be constipated. You're going to need help with that. You're going to need a stool softener. Sex, no. You'll barely be functional to have sex. And this is a huge issue with men. It's a huge issue with men and why they have erectile dysfunction. Um, so what they do is they will either do it through meditation, they can do this through voodoo dolls, or hoodoo dolls or spirit dolls. Um, they can do it through a candle, just lighting a candle. But somebody that is very, very, very parasitic and codependent and needy can do it through just meditation alone. Um, I am a person that believes that you have to have some kind of physical item, which is why a lot of parasitic people hate stones. You can actually consecrate a stone to do what you needed to do. So that's why a lot of people will say, oh, well, that's demonic. A stone? Like, really? A stone is demonic? Okay. Uh huh. And you never want to depend on meditation alone. Some of them don't have the energy to do anything but meditation. They're just constantly laying in bed, meditating all day. I've had clients to where I have seen people literally just laying there or sitting there for 12 hours a day. There's no TV turned on, there's no radio, there's no music. They don't listen to music. They're just sort of in tune with the biorhythm of somebody else's body. The problem when you're dealing with a sick person is that that's not going to make them better, but they will still try. It's almost like a soul swap, but not really. But it can happen. I've seen it happen. I've seen people parasite off of healthy people. And the next thing you know, the healthy person is sick and the sick person is now healthy. But it doesn't last a long time. It doesn't. So that's why they get stuck on feeding. Okay. Trying to think of something else I can tell y'all about parasitic people. They usually don't have anything useful to say, and it's always something negative. It's just constant negative, negative, negative. Everything that they talk about is negative for some reason. I don't know why that is, but I mean, Yeah, it's just constant negativity. No matter what it is, it's just negative, negative, negative. No matter what it is that you're talking about. You could be talking about something positive and they're going to find the negative. Why do they have to do that? Why do they have to find something negative? Because they have to upset you. They have to get you like going. They want you upset about something. If there's nothing to be upset about, they're going to create it. Okay. Now, just because a person creates something to be upset about doesn't mean that they are a parasite. Are parasites rare? I think that they are, but I think that it's a lot of them. I think even though they're rare, when you think about the trillions of people on this earth, they are considered to be very rare people. And they like to call themselves vampires. That's not vampire. That's not a vampire. Vampires drink blood. Now, psychic vampirism, I personally don't understand it because I'm not a psychic vampire. Um, Although it depends on what you consider vampirism. To me, I feel like vampirism is more so about um, influence. Vampires have a tendency to be more seductive, right? And typically, because I talk to I there is a very distinct difference between a vampire and a parasite. In fact, vampires invigorate me. They don't make me tired. So there's a huge difference. A parasite is typically very obsessive. They will obsess. If you are somebody that is psychic, you're going to sense it. If you're somebody that's telepathic, you're going to hear it. You're going to sense it. You're going to smell it. Here's where a lot of witches have to be careful. They love, love, love to parasite while we're doing ritual. They absolutely love it because you're conjuring up all of that energy. So that's why it is important to pay attention to the Sabbats because they are, they're paying attention to the full moon. They're paying attention to the new moon. People don't understand that life is not just about energy. A lot of people don't understand that it's about events and it's about sight. It's about vision. These people are not of God or the devil, in my opinion. I really, because even like when you think about it, there is more to sight than just being able to see. There's foresight, there's looking ahead, there's events that people can actually see, right? There's events that people can see. Those are things that is a part of foresight. It's a part of vision. It's what makes us human. Typically a very parasitic person, that's why they're not good problem solvers. They don't resolve anything. They can't resolve their conflicts or differences. And the reason why is because whatever negativity is present, they're going to see it as an opportunity to parasite. So, for example, if you have to, let's say you have any problem. They're going to think of the worst thing to say because they want to get your emotions going. In fact, that's what the 7 of cups is about. It's where it's where you feel blocked, but it's more of an emotional blockage. So that's why instead of you, for example, when was the last time you had a friend or either a family member or even your parent to where you may have had a bad breakup and they kept bringing it up over and over and over and over again because they want to use that emotional thing to parasite, which is why it's very important for you to heal from things completely and for you to not give a damn. Because if you hold on to that, and I think that narcissistic people are more prone to this because they're all about ego. Parasitic people love feeding off of narcissistic people. In fact, parasitic people are worse than narcissistic people. They are. And so, learning how to manage that and coming out of that darkness, because it is a very dark thing to go to. I mean, they will literally, I mean, you can literally do something as simple as break wind, and oh my God, you is and it won't, like, it's okay to tell a joke sometime, but even sometimes jokes, parasitic people will use jokes and laughter. But like if a person makes you feel bad for something that's a normal function in your body, and they just go on and on and on and on and on about it. They're just going on and on. I mean, that they're parasiting off of you. That's a parasite. Some of them like to feed off of different areas of the body. Some of them like to feed off of the crown. Some of them like to feed off the throat. Some of them the third eye. So the way they feed off of the crown is by making some kind of comment, touching your hair, some kind of insult about your hair. Why are you worried about my head? It's my head. Why are you talking about people's head? Wow, this is like roach. This is like roachified. Or they're going to talk about how other people see you. Oh, well, everybody thinks this about you. Everybody. They're feeding off of the third eye. Oh, I don't like your voice. Ugh, God, you're getting on my nerve. Ugh, I can't. Even though they're listening to every word that you're saying, they're feeding off of your throat. Oh, well, that's why so and so did so and so to you. So and so did so and so to you, and that's why so and so and so and so, and really, and so and so and so and so. They're feeding off of the heart chakra because they believe that you're holding on to that in your heart, and people usually are. See, I'm a water sign. I don't hold on to anything. I let things go really quickly. And a lot of people would say, well, that's a bad thing. Actually, it's not a bad thing. You don't have to necessarily let go of a person, but you're letting go of that emotional whatever it is, just like, psh, you know what I'm saying? And typically the way we do that is through urination. By the way, frequent urination can be a sign of being fed on. uh and it's a sign that your sexual energy is being fed on. If they're talking about your butt, either your butt is too big, or it's not big enough, or it's ugly, or your butt is this, or they're trying to feed off of the root chakra. People that feel insecure feel the need to constantly worry about somebody's butt. I really don't understand it. um you know it, but you will notice that even people that are in relationships, one of the ways that couples make one another feel more insecure, I'm sorry, not more insecure but more secure, is by rubbing each other's butt, or either, touching of the butt. Like, for some reason, when you touch somebody else's butt, and not a stranger, right? Not a stranger. Okay. Um, a lover will touch your butt, and it's because it makes them, it's a security thing, which is nothing wrong with that. But, they like that for security. The solar plexus, whenever anybody's talking about your money, whenever anybody is talking about your job, your career, they're parasiting off of the solar plexus. Um, and so you'll notice that you'll just feel kind of like, why does it, and that can cause bloating as well. That can cause bloating, which is why a lot of you guys will go to work, or, like, for example, like with me, I noticed that the past few years especially, my stomach has been increasingly bloated, and I've cut down on a lot of the bloating, a whole lot, like the feeling of being bloated. But that was because but like all of my enemies was just like, you ain't got no money. Where's your money? Are you running a business? Oh, what are you doing? Oh, you're a fake witch. Oh, you're doing this. Oh, you're doing that. Oh, you're doing it. It's just constant, because they're parasiting off of that. Okay. And some of them, every day of the week, they'll feed off of something different. Okay. On Monday, they'll feed off of the third hour, the heart chakra. And then Tuesday, on Tuesday they feed off of the throat chakra or the root chakra. On Wednesday, they feed off the heart chakra and the crown chakra. On Thursday, they feed off all of them, all the parasites is feeding off the solar plexus on a Thursday for some reason. I never did understand that. Like I told you guys, there's the sun, there's the moon, there's Jupiter, there's trees, there's apples, there's oranges, there's potatoes, there's onions, there's garlic, there's meat at the meat market. Why can't they feed off of that? No one will ever understand or know. I don't get it. I personally feel like one of the reasons why these people tend to get sick is because I feel like parasiting off of somebody can actually corrupt your health. And I feel like the reason why it can corrupt the health is because that's like cannibalism. That's like cannibalism. I know that there are like videos or frequencies you can listen to that'll supposedly turn you into a vampire. Listen, if you don't have that in your spiritual lineage or either your bloodline, can you be turned into a vampire? Eh, eh. Can you be turned into a parasite? Absolutely. Can you be turned into a vampire? I don't know. I think that's a movie thing. Like I said, I think that I'm probably like maybe 10%. But I think I'm more so like a day walker, like Blade or something. Cause Blade had all of the vampire strengths, but none of their weaknesses, or hardly none of them. Okay. So, that's why all of the other vampires wanted to feed off a Blade anyway. Without having experience at that, because I haven't had any experience with vampires feeding off of me. Like I said, vampires actually invigorate me. They actually tend to provide power and sort of like this ecstasy, this energy. Vampires are not parasitic unless they're diseased, possibly. But a parasite, okay, let's say that you are the target of a parasite. That parasite is going to talk about you to whoever will damn listen all day, every damn day. They're either going to be thinking about you, focused on you, talking about you, doing all kind of weird things, meditating to you, digging through your trash to try to find your old sanitary napkins. That's why I tell y'all not to use them. I know I use them every once in a while because they're convenient. They will dig through your trash to get your sanitary napkins. Yes, they will. Okay. That's why you don't like if somebody said, "Hey, can I hey Jamila, can I borrow like a ounce of your menstrual blood?" They'd have to be somebody that I'm extremely close to that I can trust. That's why I don't understand people that sell their bath water or their underwear. Like there's women out there, they're like, "Hey, I make money every day by selling my underwear, my used underwear." And when I saw that, I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Never." It's some things that you just have to be smart about because you never know who you're selling it to. That's one of the reasons why, so just be careful with that. Okay. Uh, anyway, let's get back on the subject here. So parasites don't like for you to drink alcohol. They don't like for you to drink alcohol. They prefer the energy to be pure. In fact, people that drink within reason can't be really parasited off of. Okay. People that drink too much though, like I think if you have like a glass or two of wine at dinner a couple of nights a week, that will actually protect you. Okay. But if you just drink and drink and drink all day, then you are more susceptible to being fit to being parasited off of, fed off of. And um you have to be careful with that because your body will start to shut down. I remember when I was being fed off of a couple of years ago, I would wake up and it just felt like something was trying to pull my heart out of my chest. And I knew it wasn't a heart attack. I knew it wasn't my health. Um, I knew it wasn't because, but I just knew it was spiritual. And so what I would do is I would like burn some eucalyptus or some mugwort or motherwort, and then I would be fine. And so they can't stand the fact that when you stop the feeding, this is when they go on the attack. When you stop them from feeding on you, they don't like that. They don't like that at all. They will attack when they can't feed. Okay. And so there's a lot of different herbs that you can use. I know that squavine is one. Mistletoe is actually another one, even though mistletoe is considered to be a parasitic herb, but mistletoe, uh it brings in a lot of good energy, good luck. It's very uplifting. And then vervain is really good. Now, camphor is essential to have around, but they will get around camphor. If you have somebody feeding off of you, it's very, very important for you to have an effective way of dealing with it. And it is something that you'll want to do. Some people have to do it several times a day. So it can be an incantation. It can be, burning something, with words on it, maybe with sigils and things of that nature. And so it's important for you to do that. But I think that the reason why people have to have help with this because what happens is that When somebody's parasiting off of you, you tend to lose brain cells to where you can't focus and you can't concentrate. You can, it's like you become very scattered, you become very confused. They will cause confusion in the mind and in the heart and in the body. They'll cause a lot of confusion. And so it's almost like getting trapped in like a web or something. And once they have you trapped, it's very difficult to break free of that if you don't know what you're doing. Okay. Some of the stuff that we do as witches kind of automatically do it, but I think that if there's a focus on that, um, like for example, if a person has time to just sit around all day and do that, I know that I don't. But maybe 2 to 5 times per day, doing my incantations and focusing on what I'm doing, that's what helps me. And they don't like it, and they will play victim. They will. They'll play victim because what'll end up happening is that they will get sick. They'll be sicker than what they already are or were. And I think this is becoming more prominent in our society. People trying to make themselves well by parasiting off of others. If they know you're a healthy person, and stretch marks and saggy titties don't that's not a precursor for health. It's not. Okay, having saggy boobs, especially after you breastfeed 5 or 6 kids, your boobs are probably gonna sag a little bit. Okay, uh, you know, that's not that's not it. Your health, doesn't necessarily I know this is going to be controversial, but your weight, that's just like people that are plus size. Just because they're plus size doesn't necessarily mean that they're unhealthy, because skinny people are not always healthy, right? We can't make the assumption that skinny equals health. Okay. Now, morbid obesity is a different thing. Definitely don't want to be morbidly obese. Plus size versus morbidly obese is two different things. It literally is. And so you know, but a person can be the perfect weight. A person doesn't have to be very overweight or plus size or very skinny. Parasitic people come in all shapes and sizes. Okay. Another symptom of it is that this is happening to you is not necessarily being sensitive to the sun. And then heat and cold sensitivity is another thing, being very cold, right? If you're very, very cold, or either you're very, very hot, that can, that change in body temperature can help them feed off of you energetically. Okay. So I am offering classes in that. And then also the astral travel classes, because I think that in some cases, I think that you need both. I think that a lot of the times, because sometimes you do need to travel to people to take your energy back from a parasite, but I think that you need to learn how to protect yourself before you're doing that. Because let's face it, if a person can see that you got a whole bunch of healing energy that's getting ready to just like make you feel healthy, or either help you, conceive a baby or something like that, and they're watching because they have watchers, they're watching and they're taking that it's going to be faster to take it back from that person versus waiting for another cycle to end, because things do come very cyclic, don't they? And they know that. They know that. So you have to take your energy back and you have to purify it and transmute it. Okay. So, um, and I've been teaching these classes, and people, they take right off after they do it. You know, people that are kind of obsessed with the whole thing of somebody has to die for somebody to live. I think that that's a mistake. I believe in the natural cycle of life, okay? The mother, the maiden, the crone. You're a baby, you grow up. Some people age at different rates, okay? And then you become a crone and you become older. But they're trying to defy that, okay? Um, and there's some people, I think that what attracts them to witches so much is that witches, they age very slow. Witches tend to age very slow, but then again, some witches age faster than normal. But it most of the time it's that a witch is going to age slower, so they're attracted to that. Okay. All right, guys. So the people that are doing things like that, they don't realize that possibly it got done to them. And so that's why they're trying to overcompensate, because maybe it happened to them their whole life. Maybe that's what it is. But in reality, if these people want to look younger, if they want more energy, there are more, there are better ways of achieving that. Like, I don't know, herbs, exercise, cleanses, clearing themselves of parasites. Some people are so parasitic though, when they do a cleanse, it'll make them sick and they'll have what's called a cleansing crisis, and it scares the hell out of them. Um, and then there are actually pills and stuff that they can take to rid themselves of the parasite, because um, it I feel like it's in the gut. It's in their gut, and it doesn't matter if they have a flat stomach or a pudgy stomach. People try to make it seem like, oh, if you have a six pack, you're completely healthy. Not the truth. Okay. All right, guys. That's pretty much what I wanted to tell you guys. I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. Okay. And I'll see y'all later. I'm working today until about 6 p.m. So I got to go. I just wanted to come and give y'all that little tidbit. Um, there was one last thing I was going to say. Sometimes it can take years for the pair for it to show up, is another thing. Sometimes it can take years for their effects to show up on you. So, you may not be affected by it now, but a few years down the line is when you'll start to become afflicted by it. Okay. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. Blessings. Love you guys. Bye.